from eSuba.
Naturally, you can't deal with the Swain, but I really want to touch on the Galio ban that's come out from eSuba. That is a specific ban because they do not want to go against the mid laner of Galio. He just neutralizes any lane, and of course, this is one point that eSuba definitely wants to carry from. Now it's completely negated.
Well, Team XD, this is a team that is coachless, and already you can see these individual lanes that they want to maintain. The Xayah, the Rakan, the Zac comes in as well, and that is a big influencer for those lanes.
It's pretty crazy how you get the first pick Xayah, and then eSuba forego both Rakan foregoes Rakan in both of the picks.
Yeah.
But it just so happens they get this bottom lane. Now, of course, it's one of the stronger bottom lanes. It is the strongest bottom lane when they both hit level 2 and get access to 2 of their abilities. However, if there ever was a champion that was specifically designed to counter it, it would be the Braum, because if you get to block out a whole lot of the feathers, both of those two champs don't do a whole lot.
Already got some ice on the team. You pair it with the Sejuani, you pair it with the Braum, and the Varus has been such a big power pick right now.
Yeah, I second that one. And Varus coming in, of course, just a very natural one. This is what I was talking about. Nadius translating to it very well. We're already done with the ban phase, and I think this would be very bold. I mean, they can do it, but it would be very risky if they were to lock in the mid lane now.
Well, Preacher, I mean, you've taken Rise off the board. Maybe eSuba are comfortable enough to pick up the Cassidy.
They could potentially be, but it's obviously they're not going to pick mid lane, because if you're red side and you haven't picked mid lane in your first rotation, you're going to leave it to last pick. You want to counter your lane to make sure that you have a very good matchup, and especially for Humanoid coming here, you pretty much want to put all of your eggs into the mid basket, because if you can manage to take down XT's mid lane, you've neutralized their biggest threat.
This Chechen and Slovakian team still picking up the gangplank, and it's kind of had its resurgence with Klepto having its ups and downs alike. Response picking up the Azir, and immediately you can see that there are a couple of mid laners now off the board, and Humanoid is going to be pushed into a corner. If this gets picked up, however, you have to really put faith in the solo lanes for the team that doesn't have the coach.
That would be insane. I mean, I'm just waiting for this matchup to occur. It is a very strong one into Gangplank because you get to abuse a whole lot of it early game. They go for something that is a very...
Still a counter lane.
Yeah, of course. It's seen a lot in the LPL. It's seen a lot in the LCK. You want to pick up Gnar in order to take down all of Gangplank's barrels from range. This does open up Humanoid to pick up the likes of the Cassin that he was hovering over earlier. Works well into the holistic team comp of XD. Or they could go for something that's more front burst oriented, because they need to take down a whole lot of damage in order for Varus's DPS, very sustained damage, to really come out of shot.
Well, it's a Syndra actually, and this is another pick that we haven't seen in a very long time. You can see how this lane interacts, and this is one we used to commentate on a while ago, Preacher, in Season 6, in the Rise of Azir, when Syndra came out of the rework.
Oh, you're taking me back to the good old days, but it works really well in this instance just because you need some front-up damage. You know, you need something that will really set off Varus's passive so that he gets 60% attack speed and he can start ripping through everybody else. If you don't have the 60% attack speed, Varus doesn't actually do too much into this team because he's extremely immobile. He's into a Gnar who can jump in. He's into a Rakan with a billion range as well because he's paired up with the Xayah. It's going to be very difficult for Nadius, and the fact that they have some burst to really have some upfront potential, it really does suit.
But Nadius, he's the experienced player, and we were always contemplating, okay, is Denik going to be a good enough support for him? Because Denik has been in eSuba for a very long time, since 2014. We have to remember someone like Nadius. He's an experienced player. I mean, at the end of the day, going to be really on his side.
I mean, I think that this is one of the highest points that they possibly have. You need to see a lot of bot lane focus coming out from them. And as soon as we get into game, that's really where we need to set our eyes on. Because if the bottom lane doesn't get ahead, if Varus doesn't get his Rage Blade very early, as well as taking down the opposing turret for the Xayah and Rakan, then that could actually spell out something quite deadly. Because you don't want to be in a prolonged lane phase against that duo, because the longer it goes, the harder it is to deal with. You know, Braum's Unbreakable is something that he maxes last. It's going to be a maximum cooldown all the time, and Rakan's Engage just goes down time and time and time again with levels, so it's going to be great.
Now, if anyone just tuned in, it is a best of 3. It's the semi-finals for the V4 Future Sports Festival with 150,000 euros on the line. Let's jump into game 1. Team XD taking on eSuba. The semi-finals begin.
And already we can see some very creative picks coming out, especially from Humanoid. You can see the minion dematerializer. It works for two reasons. Of course, one is the Baron plus Banner of Command.
Yeah.
It's just way too strong to deal with, and you can eliminate it by just using one of your minion dematerializers.
Oh, yeah.
But it also helps for Syndra because her power spikes don't quite give her enough damage to clear waves. So if she uses one on a melee, one on a range, or one on a cannon, her Q should be able to one or two shot every single wave that comes out.
But you see the scaling of this team, Preacher, and for me, it is to power spike, it is to snowball on the side of eSuba. But ironically, kind of the same feeling from Team XD.
Well, it's going to be really difficult for eSuba in the early game, right? Because you've got a very late game focused solo lane. You've got Gangplank and you also got Syndra. Now, Syndra, of course, she works best when she's at max rank. You think about a Transcendence passive, she wants to be level 18 in order to have the biggest impact possible. So really, once again, it does go down to the expertise of the bottom lane. Nardius leading the team not only from experience, but also from the fact that he's got the strongest early game possible for the Sejuani team.
Well, Sheckload is going to have a difficult time ahead, you'd have to say, with Jejki on the Sejuani and still going back to these S tier picks in the jungle. And Humanoid, I mean, this matchup, it hasn't been seen in a long time, so I guess we need to start at bare basics and look at where Syndra starts having more impact in that lane. But already Baskin, he's actually being caught out.
No.
He's on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift, has been ignited, and that's a flash away.
Very early trading in the bottom lane. That ignite is going to come up before any real action is going to happen, certainly before this bottom lane hits level 6. So they're very safe to do so, and already it gets the full lead over to eSuba. One thing that I want to talk about, though, is especially in the LPL, we've seen a huge rise of Sejuani taking lethal tempo as opposed to Aftershock. This is, of course, 8.5, so there's a little bit of strength to the Aftershock build. At first I was quite critical of it, but I'm coming around to the lethal tempo. I don't think these players have had a lot of time to really adjust to it. So for the moment, Aftershock seems very fine. You shouldn't expect a whole lot of build.
Already Humanoid hits level 3, tries to bully out of lane. And with eSuba, the tempo definitely building up. And the one lane that we expect the CS to be at a discrepancy is up in that top lane. I mean, Siktuka is going to fall down on this Gangplank, and there's really nothing he can do.
It's going to be a really challenging one. I mean, you never really expect to win it, not primarily because Na can just take away all of those barrels, huge trade. But as soon as Gangplank gets to the point where he maxes Q and he also maxes E, that's going to be the trouble point for the Na. So he's going to need some assistance in order to really take out Gangplank.
But top side of the map now, and Vincent is trying to influence that lane, push Gangplank further behind. It's a bit of vision control, walks back out, and you can see already that control of this map is being dominated by eSuba. Bottom side, vision control, quick responses from Jejki on this Sejuani. He goes down, he's going to get those golems and pick up a bit more farm.
Of course, the one thing that happens when you use the vision cone is you actually show your opponents where you are because you have to activate it. And as soon as Vincent did that, it just signaled over to Jetchi that he should go into the bottom side and steal away whatever camps are possible. So much vision laid down in the bottom side of the map that realistically, if the bottom lane were to get ganked for eSuba, it is nothing but on them because they didn't respond to the wards.
Still pushing out heavily in this bottom lane. Small CS discrepancy, but eSuba, the team that has had the longer coach, the longer coaching, already starting to show some dominance. We talked about Team XD wanting to hold these individual laning phases and pull out individual plays.
And I think this is actually blind hysterics. So Vincent wants to make a play. He's got his passive, which is a perfect diving tool to punish this Gangplank early. Let's see what he does and if he actually calls it.
Well, he has no mana whatsoever, Preacher, so that is going to be one barrel, one hit. Humanoid continue bullying out the mid lane. Speak of no mana, again, another champion who's run dry. Still CS building up, but for game 1 of the semifinals, it's going to give us a good indication of where Team XD stand. In the top 4 teams, we said maybe they're the weakest coming through. Maybe eSuba are one of the strongest, and you were speaking about this dive, but Vincent is going to try and make him lose CS instead.
Wow, that's really painful, and now the counter.
Actually coming through, Vincent has been caught out. Jejki getting a bit of damage down. Will look like he finds a stand and gets the heck out of there. Team XD putting the pressure up top early.
But remarkably, Vincent actually took more damage in that trade, and he also has nothing to go back to. As soon as he goes to the bottom side of his jungle, he's going to find complete barren side. You know, there's nothing left there. It's almost as if chickens can't even grow there organically, Hysterics, and it's going to be very punishing for him. I doubt that this Zac is even going to get to level 6 by the time that his solo lane is through, but in the bottom lane.
Okay, now finding Varus. Nadius flashes away. The Ignite has been dropped, and Neon, just the same, finds the poke. Dedic is going to follow the kill, but he's backed out immediately. The aggression continues down in this bottom lane. Now 3 summoners burnt for the price of 2.
And you can already see that the health is also very heavily stacking towards Nadius. He's opted to go for the Doran shield, so has Neon, but that favors Varus so much more because he doesn't poke in the early game. Now, you might be thinking, but he's got Piercing Arrow. He can shoot it onto the Xayah. It uses a lot of mana, doesn't do a whole lot of damage. You actually max it last.
Yeah, we're not maxing it anymore.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
you're maxing your E and then you're maxing your W. You're foregoing your Piercing Arrow for the most part of the game, so it's working out better. And
well,
that's a bit of a fumble.
Jetki has to use the assault over the wall, but still Neon Vincent's here. He might be the first blood. Denick getting dangerously low, and Jetki slowing the rotation down, and it will cost them maybe not getting that first blood.
They're just testing the waters. They're dipping their toes in, and they're seeing just how warm it is. Everybody's pulling off at the current moment because they don't want to be giving a lead unnecessarily over to the other side. But wow, the Shurima shot.
Humanoid's gone way too far forward. He pops the ultimate to get an early trade, and surprisingly, Shekolad has to back away.
Well, it's just a respect ulti coming out from the Syndra. No real way that she would have won that, but you use it just to dissuade the Azir from doing more. And watch this fight in the jungle.
Now, this is a level 5 versus 5, though, Preacher, so nothing's going to happen.
Yep, no ultimates currently available. I think that Jetshi is going to reach it well before Vincent, just because of the night of experience that happened from the camps in the bottom side of his jungle. As soon as Sejuani hits level 6, she needs to use that power spike, because she only gets about 40 seconds before Vincent catches up, and she doesn't want to be caught in the crossfire if a Zac is rushing into a team.
We definitely don't. Humanoid, let's take a rain check on that one, because we'll take stock of where he's at 5 minutes further into this game. Already 13 CS up, but it is about getting that first item. Now, more likely, the Archangel Staff. You get that haste, you get that immediate 20% cooldown reduction, and you get the stacking of mana, plus the burst of damage that comes on later. You have to look at how much AP it gives you, and you got to say, this is going to be the first item.
Naturally, it's a very greedy build, because if there were, hypothetically, going to be a fight in the middle lane, Humanoid barely contributes any damage to it. He's got his base damage, and that's more or less it. So it's a huge punishing factor for him, but if he manages to discourage a whole lot of ganks in the mid lane, that could work well towards the favor of eSuba. Now, it just has to be up to eSuba to see if they can draw enough pressure away from mid lane. That's, of course, on the shoulders of Jetshi to gank either bot or top to make sure that there's a response from Vincent. And Vincent, he just needs to be able to read that and not actually get baited in to go where eSuba wanted to go.
I think eSuba have, in the past, and watching them qualify, reading plays very well. This is another moment. A 3 versus 2, the knockup will not stop them, but maybe the Blade Caller will. Saving that one. Basket using the escape. And keep walking away. Level 6 on this Ricard hasn't actually popped it yet. And they'll walk away for a lot burnt.
A lot of miscommunication coming out from eSuba in the early game. It looked like Nadius wasn't on the same page as the rest of his squad. The ulti came in from Sejuani, very nicely pinned down. And
no, here's a Chains of Corruption and sniped down. Denick will gain first blood.
Have you ever sniped somebody with the door hysterics? I've just witnessed it happen in the bottom lane, and that's what we were talking about. Can he fill the shoes of Dumbledore in order to support Nadius to victory? Current moment looks like yes, he is well on point.
Good old days, coming back strong. And Nadius, with the help of first blood from Denick, they'll go back. He should be able to buy himself, or at least closer to the start of the Wit's End, the start of the Ginsu's Rage Blade. We'll get that recurved bow and is getting closer.
Yeah,
still.
It's just the strongest components already purchased for Nadius, and he's ready to trade, honestly, whenever he chooses to. Now, of course, you got to consider Varus's passive at all times in the trading. So, if you're the bottom lane of Team XD, you got to be considering, is he killing a minion or not? Here's the replay though, Hysterics. So he uses a Chains of Corruption because he knows that the dash away is not available, and the snipe from Denick to finish off the small amount of HP.
There's a good read from Denick, and that's what we've come to expect, that this bottom lane would be the strongest factor for eSuba. And for Team XD, It was all about looking at that mid lane. It was all about looking at, okay, who are we focusing on? And it was Scarlet, who I assume is Shekalad there. Has he been performing? Well, he's been shut out. He's been counterpicked by the Syndra.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult situation. He's not even that close to his Nash's Tooth, which could be a very punishing factor. Usually you think that Azir's first item is going to come so much sooner. Here's Vincent.
Well, jumping in, does miss, and will not find that elastic slingshot knock up. The damage is coming out of Nadius.
Wow.
The counterplay imminent as Denik walking up as well. Close call, and the focus continues to be bot lane here.
Ridiculous trade going back on the Vincent, and that is just what happens when you miss your elastic slingshot. You go in, you don't knock anybody up, and then they just start trading back on you with the Brawn passive. The Brawn passive in conjunction with the recurve bow from Varus is just way too hard to deal with. And as soon as you get stunned up, he just hits you for a whole lot more.
Well, the issue right now, eSuba are pushing ahead by 1k gold, 11 minutes in. And when you think about it, Preacher, you know, third and fourth, they both get 37,500 euros. It's great, but you want so much more. 75,000 per second, 150,000 for first. It starts with these best of 3 series that move into the grand final. And you cannot be affording to slip up here. Game one is that momentum builder. It is that strain off your back. That's when you say, boys, we've started well, let's continue.
And this is really what decides who gets lead in terms of mentality as well. Because if you win the first game, then you can go a whole lot more reckless in the second one. It doesn't really matter whether you win or lose it. You can start picking your favorite champions to really test the waters even further. But in the bottom lane, I think this is blind.
4-man gank. Jejki goes in with the ultimate. It misses because of the ultimate from Neon. Jumping back in, the damage will still come through. Humanoid ult, and remember Syndra, ladies and gentlemen. I bet you do now. 2 kills going over to eSuba.
And that was also with no AP on his side. He barely had anything in his inventory, but just the basic base damage coming out from her passive. Although, Vincent.
Remember, Glacial Prison is down. They find the knock-up. Azir sends his soldiers backward. Jejki has no way out. And with the Gnar to finish off the kill, finally Team XD get one in response.
A good punish for the overstay. Team XD start coming back into this game, and they also want to go for the Mountain Drake. Now, Mountain Drake is one of the better ones in the early game because no turrets have been taken. This enabled turret taking a whole lot more for Team XD, and it's really the only Drake in the entire game that can actively change your strategy and actively change what you want to do. There's no jungle on the side of eSuba, so they can do this as slow as they want. They've got a smite to
Humanoid is very confident, and Vincent, yep, smite down, gone, slingshot into Humanoid. He has to flash, and Scatter the Weak is not going to be up and available. Humanoid has put himself in a corner, and Team XD capitalized big.
Nobody puts Baby into a corner. They take him down. They even slingshotted him with the Scuttle Crab, and there was just no way to get out of this. But this is a dive. Of course, excellently dodged out by the Xayah, but you just can't do anything when a Sejuani is tanking this turret, because you've got Humanoid with the burst and also Nadius with the DPS alongside Genki. I think that this is just the terrible call that necessarily happened for eSuba, because they want to get the turret down early before they go for it. And here's the slingshot that seals in their fate. I mean, he gets the turret aggro, gets put back even further with the Shurima shuffle, and there's no way that Sejuani escapes.
There were a lot of ultimates used, but you have to question Humanoid. He went back at maybe an awkward time. I think he used Unleashed Power in that last fight too. And as we really fast forward through this replay, we're not going to come back to it. We're just going to speed through it.
No, here we go. All right, so then they smite it away.
He's used Scatter the Weak here, so he can't get out.
Yep, no disengage possible. And watch, snipes Humanoid, gets it onto the Scuttle Crab. Goodbye.
Plot dead. Team XD back in the game, and eSuba was they were running away with this at less than 10 minutes in the game, and now it's back to about square odds.
It's one of the things that teams always have to work on, and that's teams of all level, and that is just thinking your backs at the correct time. It's a soft reset of the map and make sure that whatever you've got in the bank.
But it sounds so basic. It's like synchronize your backs. Well, anyone can do that, right?
Well, you need a whole lot of communication, and I think that this is just one thing that if you don't encounter a problem with it, and if you haven't ever talked about it with your team, then you haven't got it at the forefront of your mind, and you can't necessarily improve on it. That was obviously seen because Humanoid went back. There was no Syndra, despite the fact that she didn't have an ultimate. She has a whole lot of other abilities, a lot of CC, a lot of slows, a lot of stuns that could have potentially changed that fight, or coulda, woulda, shoulda, and didn't happen.
Well, Starting this game off, eSuba were looking very confident. Team XD still pressuring this top lane, but the fact that Shek has been able to keep up in that top lane of eSuba, that Gangplank should be so much further behind Preacher.
You'd imagine so, but now he's actually winning on the CS, and here's some help.
And now he's actually forced to engage the Gnar, and this is going to be so good for the Gangplank coming out of Mega Gnar. The ultimate is available. The flash is there. He'll get the slow, and Jetski should be able to get this Arctic Assault. It's left by the Gangplank, and they don't follow it up.
So they can't actually pick it up because there was a little bit of a chase. But while all of that was happening, the mid lane was rotated on by Team XD, and they get first brick. Oh, it wasn't first brick actually for their efforts. They get a return kill onto the turrets, and now they want to get even more objectives for this side. It was secured because of the Mountain Drake, and now the Mountain Drake's helping out with Herald.
Well, Rift Herald, Mountain Drake going over to Team XD, and although it wasn't first brick Preacher, you have to look at what opening the mid lane does. For a team that snowballs, Team XD, I'd say that's much more worth it.
Of course it is. It's so much different though. So it's like apples and oranges, but it's a very huge apple that you want over the orange, because while you do take their bottom lane, and that allows Nardius and also Denick to rotate to the top side of the map in order to bust down the top turret as well with their 2v2 ability, the mid lane being opened up doesn't just open up the mid lane, it opens up the jungle as well. So now everything is wide open for XD to take. And this looks like a reverse of the early game coming out from eSuba, where a whole lot was denied away by Jetski, where now his jungle is going to be under contest, and a whole lot of his laners need to collapse in order to defend it.
And I'm impressed that Team XD have managed to get vision control back in this game. Rift Herald going to be dropped up into the top side, almost interrupted.
It's ambitious.
But now the Glacial Fissure is down, Preacher, and everyone's rotating up. Ostronovic has teleport in about 20 seconds, so I see a fight coming in the near future.
Yeah, but they just want to get this turret with the Rift Herald, and it's not going to happen.
Chains of Corruption, 3-man knock-up, getting charmed left, right, and center. Flubber brings them all the way back in, and eSuba getting a little bit dangerous. Flubber does go down. That is Zach for you, ladies and gents.
Wait, the turret's
getting
still
knocked
up.
back. It's gone down, however, and Team XD, the damage is still there. The Glacial Prison, but Rakan is still alive. I do not know how Vast is still here with us. Syndra uses Unleashed Power to kill the 2 HP support, and Team XD almost capitalized big.
No Humanoids continuing.
Oh, he's running forward. The flash has already been used by Azir. Will Humanoid try and follow it up? His flash is on about 10 seconds of cooldown, so I guess not.
You'd imagine that the best case scenario for that was to use your Unleashed Power into Neon and then just Q Vasket. But he didn't do it. He wanted to secure the kill onto the Rakan. It's a guaranteed one instead of a maybe one onto the Zyre as well. Let's take a look at it. They tried to cancel the Rift Herald summon with the ulti, but now it's a worst case scenario for Denick because he has no ulti for the disengage.
Yep.
They read this excellently, and Team XD, they start to go for this turret. Now, this fight looks like they want to secure it. Very nicely done by Vasket, but he just did it so that he could buy time for the Rift Herald to take down the turret.
I guess we stopped with the replay. We thought something was going on down in the bottom lane, but ipso facto for eSuba, they really controlled that fight at one point, thrown away the next, and now with another dragon coming up in 30 seconds, Baron spawning in a minute 30 as well. eSuba don't have as much control as maybe they should, and you can see that deep ward coverage that is being placed by Team XD. Top side rotations now moving into the bottom side. And with this pressure put on Chekuta, eSuba, I'm sorry, I'm struggling a little bit there,
You're
Preacher.
trying your hardest.
How would you say? Because you're really good with Slavic, no?
Oh, no, I'm terrible with it. And also Hungarian is the Slavic, so I can't even help you out there.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, but there we go. Okay, so you talked about vision control. Let's take stock of what's currently available on the map. eSuba has got Dragon all warded up. Now, the downside of that is that it's a Cloud Drake. It's not the favorite of the party. Not a whole lot of people want it. And the vision, however,
influences this, and now off the side, Jetski is there as a bit of a fail-safe.
Ooh.
Jumping in, great Arctic Assault will get nothing. Team XD are blocked before they can get back in this turret. Continues to be hit, prioritized, knocked down. And this is why the Syndra was such a great counter pick. And going into the Gnar now, 1 kill, 1 turret, eSuba back in
it
control.
looked very sheepish, Asterix, and realistically, as soon as the Arctic Assault stopped the Elastic Slingshot, everybody in XD should have been shouting, get out of that situation. We cannot stand it because we have no engage from the Zac. We don't have any disengage either. We just need to leave. It looked like the mid laner wasn't really on board, lost the memo, and now he lost his life as well.
And now Gangplank gets the stack of parlay from the Dragon. That's fun. But for eSuba, getting a Cloud Drake with a team composition that maybe lacks in movement speed, you dare say, Well, can't all be bad, but let's have a look at this one again. And this was a good defense, but maybe a bit ambitious.
Yeah, the Azir ulti comes out just to try and stop them, but there's no real call in order for it to happen. And now you got to keep your eyes on the Gnar, because the Elastic Slingshot comes in, gets cancelled, and watch where Gnar is. He's standing at the front. He gets caught up with the...
No Mega Gnar.
Yeah, he doesn't have Mega Gnar, so he doesn't have the tankiness. He gets scattered the weak, and then he just gets stunned up and gets bursted down by the whole team, because there's no defense possible from Team XD to stop it.
And the issue is now Jetski's getting so tanky, almost onto the second item. And you take stock, when you verse Nardius, you have to make sure you're on his level. Ginsu's Rageblade and the Wit's End, 2-item Varus is when he starts powering up. And at this 20-minute mark, eSuba, they know exactly where their conditions lie.
That's ridiculous. I mean, 21 minutes getting a 2-item power spike on the Varus, even having the Merc Treads for that little bit of extra tenacity just to make sure that you can continue laying down your DPS unimpeded onto the enemy team. I mean, this is going to be one of the hardest things to do for Team XD to team fight. If they manage to get a pick, if they manage to get uneven fights where Nardius is not present, there's a good chance they can win it. But if Nardius is there when they decide to fight, it almost looks like it's just too hard for them.
But it doesn't look like that, because look at the split. This is a 1-3-1 where they're leaving Humanoid to wave clear in the mid lane. This is a slow rotation from Team XD. They're now finally moving top with a bit of a blank vision control. And when I say that, I mean that eSuba, they've got 100% vision up past the river. eSuba, they know this is going on. They can watch the push. They can read it like a book. And now with Baron up and available, it looks like eSuba will be able to safely clear out the waves.
Okay, so Team XD, they have perfect positioning to potentially engage onto the top side of the map, because while there is a teleport available for eSuba in the bottom lane, Sekutka is just pushing by himself. There's no actual way that Humanoid or Jetski could have rotated. And now,
However, an ultimate has to be used. Gangplank comes through with a cannon barrage and caught out again. That is Rakan. Flashed over the wall, but Nardius cleans him up. And Team XD, this is not looking good. 2 members go down. A third will just grab him to his death. Vincent has to be so damn careful. And eSuba now, they'll walk towards the Baron.
And the problem that we said from eSuba now shows in Team XD. They backed at uneven times. People were trying to defend turrets they couldn't necessarily do. You know what's worse than giving up a turret hysterics? Giving up a Baron.
But you know what? This is what we said. eSuba looked like a team. 5-man unit versus Team XD, who are all out of sorts, and this is what a coach does. Vixen wasn't able to steal that one out, and Dedic is dangerously low in that pit. Will not go down as Blubber fixes it up. Big Shurima shuffle step, and on the backside, Jekyll, he flashes. This is the Azir moment, denied and cancelled. Humanoid now has to deal with a Mega Gnar that's about to come up. Is Unleashed Power available? It is not, and Team XD, they're turning this one around. 3 members dead from eSuba, and that Baron play went sideways fast.
But if eSuba managed to get out of this situation, they are still in the lead. 2 members with Baron buff, it works more than okay for them. They take it, here's the fight. Vincent just gets taken down and shredded immediately, but here's the reply coming out from the Azir. He wants to save his buddy. A 4-man knock with a kill, and he's actually relatively safe in this pit, so he finally gets taken down, but not before the Gnar can actually respond to this entire fight. And now it's all just lights out, good night, whoever they can catch out in this situation, and they take down 3.
It was almost 4, and eSuba not comfortable once again, so individual skill really coming through, and Team XD had this shining moment that we'd like to see more of. This series is getting tighter and tighter by the minute. It's a best of 3, but we might see all 3 games at this rate.
It's super close. And the fact that XD was nearly on the cusp of getting an ace after eSuba got that Baron should speak wonders. But it's all hypothetical. And now, with all members up and full HP, they're barreling down the mid lane. Inventory check, nobody has got Banner of Command, so it's got to be a little bit of a slow push comparatively to what we usually see.
Well, you still got Baron buff, and you got 4k gold lead for eSuba, and you see the difference between that bottom lane. That is 1,500 gold for Nardius, and this is the lane we're talking about, guys. This is who we wanted to focus on. And he definitely hasn't disappointed, but where is his moment in these team fights? Because Neon has always been aggressed on. Nardius sitting back uncontested. When the pressure gets put on him, I'd like to see how he performs.
Yeah, I mean, we were hyping up Nardius, but we can never talk about Nardius without also talking about his duo in the bottom lane, Denick. He sits on top of Nardius every single team fight. He uses his Unbreakable, and despite the fact that there's no disengage potential, there's no kiting potential coming out from Varus, you don't need it. Because if you got an Unbreakable in front of you, no damage is coming your way. You're laying down waste. A bit of a whiff.
Glacial Prison actually misses. The slingshot's there. Let's bounce all the way back. Remember, Emperor's Divide is up. The Wombo combo ready to be amputated from eSuba's arm. As everyone goes in, Humanoid is starting to clean up.
Nardius.
Big shuffle coming through, and eSuba have to make do while Team XD start getting corrupted. This is why you want Sectuga on the gangplank. This is why you want eSuba in their comfort. There's only going to be one person left, but it is a 4 for 2, and eSuba take it convincingly.
They still manage to get out ahead.
Oh no, why? eSuba now have freedom, but Humanoid goes down as well.
All right, I mean, it was worth it. It was an execute, and they still have one Baron buff, which means they can push down all the way to the inhibitor. A clean ace, only Rakan up. No way that he can stop this push necessarily.
Well, eSuba, the inhibitor, should surely go down, but no, they leave it. So Fast is just going to have to deal with the fury of the Baroned up minions, which dissipates as soon as they leave. But eSuba now 8k gold lead, 26 minutes in, and these fights leaving up Humanoid in the back line. Remember, Preacher, we saw this ages ago, and I'm going to harp on it again, but straight after this.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep your eyes onto Nardius. Sidesteps the Zac ulti with the flash so he doesn't get
Well, he doesn't
back.
sides, he flashes the
Yeah, he flashes it out, but this is actually a misplay from him because he starts to walk forward after the Xayah uses her ultimate. That is the wrong choice. As soon as this happens, Ketkon sees him, and then he goes for the Shurima shuffle, pushes him all the way back into the turret. There's no way that Varus is getting out of the situation. You just saw him use flash. He dies, but the rest of his team still managed to clean up because while that was happening, you have to put yourself into the backline as a Xayah, and that's just deadly, deadly stuff.
I mean, it's Chocolat who is really the hope for this team right now. eSuba are taking control all across the map. A Mountain Drake goes over, Cloud to follow suit, but dare I say, will we find it? Humanoid in the backline, that's problem number one. You have so many damage sources from eSuba that Team XD, they just don't know how to deal with it. The front line has to start doing work because Chocolat is doing damage. How does the front line start taking on these fights?
It's going to be hard, and it's going to be even harder because right now Nardius has just picked up a rapid fire cannon as well as that QSS sitting very comfortably like he had in that last fight. I mean, this is going to be one of the hardest situations for Team XD to really engage, and they're going for it.
They've found a solo ultimate, very, very close range, and it'll be immediately counter-attack. Vincent coming through, the screen will freeze, but I'm still back with you. The unstoppable Let's Bounce gets no one. Nardius still in the front. I don't know why he's so far forward. One goes down. Team XD are starting to get crushed. Remember, Humanoid is the person to watch. And in this fight, cleaning house is what he does best. Everyone dangerously low from eSuba, but they'll still win the fight.
And Team XD did what we did, Hysterics, and that was the incorrect choice, which is just tunnel onto Nardius. They thought that he was going to be the be-all, end-all of the fight, but so many resources and ultimates burned just to get on top of him means that Humanoid is allowed to unleash fury on the side of XD, lining up for the scat of the week. There was no way that XD could have potentially won that fight, even if they did take down the Star ADC.
And because we're in a surplus of replays, I know that one will come back to us, but Baron comes back in a minute 10 and eSuba still with 8k gold lead. So although these fights are starting to give more of an impact to Team XD, it's not making work. And again, the Nah maybe caught out Denick. Winter's Bite will not connect.
And it's going to be a hard situation for eSuba. Now they need to migrate.
Oh no, this is it.
Neon!
What?
What?
Scat of the week? No, stop there. Wow, this is the damage from Humanoid and holding with bated breath a bit there.
But now it signals that Xayah has no ulti, so this is all steam ahead for eSuba. They know that they can just tunnel irrationally on the ADC, and there is no way that he can get out of the situation. A flash available if they have timed it, but the flash looks like it almost won't have that huge of an impact, because if he gets to be locked down by the Syndra, the burst is more or less enough to just kill him 100-0.
Well, Unleashed Power wasn't available. That's what I was looking for there from Humanoid, and will be up in the next fight. All 5 ultimates from eSuba.
Just a quick note, Humanoid has reached his power spike. Rabadon's Death Cap and Void Staff There is no way that you can build against this, and the AP is only going to get higher.
And you got the Seraph's Embrace sitting in the inventory. The 3, almost 4 item Syndra when you get to that Morellonomicon. The burst is there, and now eSuba, they start up the Baron, and this is completely blind.
But XD should know that this is happening if they disappear off the map. Vincent,
he's been stunned. He has to go in now, but he's too late. And eSuba pick up another Baron, and they're charging through. They're trying to cut them off.
They don't even want it back. Okay, now they do.
Now they're going to back, but eSuba, 10k gold lead, continues to grow, and this is the experience of the roster showing up big in the V4 Future Sports Fest.
And the funny thing is, this was actually ragtag coming out from eSuba. They weren't necessarily planning to take this Baron as soon as it respawned. They wanted to do something around the bottom side of the map, find a pick, and then bust open the base from that point as well. However, as soon as the Baron came up, they moved all of their wards from the bottom side to the top, and then they got...
But also, they got Neon down that low. He had to back away, and eSuba immediately said, okay, judgment call, let's head towards the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the ADC is so low, he needs to go back to base. You just call it. There's no way that Neon can reach it, and even if he does, hasn't got an ulti.
Well, eSuba looking comfortable, now positioning down the bottom side of the map. All waves pushing in Millhouse. The Sectuka in that top lane will be reaching that tier 2, and now Humanoid starts a charge. Baron on all 5 members this time. Not 2, not 3, all 5. This time it's going to go down in the base. I fear for Team XD is going to be hard to defend.
Yep, they've got the dud, but you have to take a look at the inventory. Now, I have to really judge Denick in this situation because he didn't go for the Locket Rush. He got it 3rd, and that brings up a whole lot of questions. Now, you get the Aegis of the Legion. You can easily build a banner of command, and you know that you have the priority on Baron buffs from this point onwards. You got the first one. You can easily take all of the ones after that. Doesn't get it, but, you know, it's all very minor criticism because they're still pushing in nonetheless. And you know, the later the game goes, the more it does favor eSuba, so they don't necessarily need to close out now.
Well, the protection is on eSuba, and they're looking to keep that AD carry alive. Nardius, previously on big teams, Supermassive Esports, Paris Saint-Germain, and even Besiktas Esports.
Woo! Big names.
Big names, and he
big
wants
shoes.
big shoes to fill, and he's definitely done it. He's come back to his form, I dare say. Well, not that he ever fell out of it. I mean, that's a big judgment call in itself.
Of course, yeah. Now we just need to watch exactly how he interacts with Denick. If Denick can stand on top of him, use his Unbreakable, that's going to make it nigh impossible for Varus to die in these team fights. Has it happened? Not yet, but I'm looking forward to it because if it does, he's going to unleash all hell and fury.
Look at Chechki using that, but that's a massive knockup. Team XD have found the wombo combo. Everyone's split apart, and for eSuba, could be good, could be bad. The damage still alive. Nardius in the backline. The flash away from Sectuka, but on the backside, they're still finding the engage. Nardius has been hit hard and will be slammed down. Team XD have won a fight, and they've looked good doing it.
And it's not over his character because they want more.
Oh, well, Team XD still on the backside, but Sectuka is the only one alive. He picks up 1 kill. Now looking for another. The Baron buff is going to help him with the barrels. 1 more hit, a double kill. Vincent has no damage whatsoever, and Sectuka is following this one up. Vincent running for his life, but eSuba win a fight because Gangplank is a goddamn menace.
Did you just... I cannot believe I witnessed that with my own 2 eyes, hysterics. Sectuka, he just managed to run away with this entire team fight. Once Humanoid got taken down, we were thinking, oh, this might be really difficult because there's no way that Nardius can activate his passive in order to start attacking really fast. Nardius gets taken down, and now we're just thinking nobody can do this at all. Here's the fight so that I can better illustrate my point. You got to watch Humanoid, because Humanoid is being focused right now. The Sejuani needs to be taken off the board before she can use her ultimate. She doesn't manage to do so, and she just dies in that instance. And now all eyes have to be on Nardius, because eSuba, they've only got 1 damage loss, or so you thought. But as soon as Nardius gets taken down, all of these summoners used just to get onto the backline means that Gangplank can run free. And now it's just 1v3, small Gangplank versus the world. Watch his parry. This is my favorite. Ready? Bonk.
Tap. Well, what you're going to see here is a Gangplank that is 6-0-7, and our eyes weren't on him. We weren't saying, hey, the Gangplank's going to do a lot of damage, but at this stage of the game, 5 items now. I take it back. eSuba's top laner, he's Flame Horizon Anar. And it was like the Silent Predator He's now stepped up in a big way.
And it's only 35 minutes. Usually you see Gangplank's really come online at 40 minutes and you just think, okay, there's no way that we can counter this guy. But he's already reached that power spike. He is full build Hysterics. Look at that inventory, ripe with items that are so expensive, and he is just going to be ripping through Team XD. Now the question is, who does Team XD focus? They focused Humanoid and then went to Nadia's last team fight. Didn't work.
But they found the engaged last team fight. That's what I'm excited about, because eSuba are not as comfortable as they should be. And Vast and Vincent have got what it takes to find these wombo combos. These engages are clean. Follow-up is the damage. eSuba now still encroaching on this base. 145 till Baron, wasting time, pushing in. Bottom inhibitor is going to crash. So now how long can Team XD hold out? I guess not. They find the stun. Unstoppable. The let's bounce. One shutdown on the backline. That's the gangplank going down. Team XD, they hold in their base. The redemption will bring them back to life. Neon and the Gnar, they want to find the fight, but one is enough.
They managed to hold off, and it's just the gangplank dying. Finally shut down from his 6-kill killing spree. Now the gangplank has to sit on the bench for a whole minute, and eSuba have to, in silence, contemplate how they're going to close out this game. As soon as Gangplank is up, they can start moving as a 5-man unit to get a whole lot of vision down onto the Baron, which will be up subsequently afterwards, and that could be one of the points that they can use in order to break down the base. Now, the inhibitor for Team XD was taken down in the bottom lane, so super minions funneling down there means that somebody always needs to focus.
It's 5,000 gold ahead.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the gold is all superficial.
It doesn't, but it's 5,000 gold, Preacher. You get rid of the Tabi at some point and you say, hey, let's get I don't know. What do you want on Gangplank? Static Shiv. Oh, God, that would
be disgusting.
They were good days.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be on 90% crit then because you also have a Phantom Dancer, which gives 10% more than usual. I can't even imagine that.
No, but still, a Gangplank that's 5,000 gold ahead, a testament to how powerful this eSuba lineup has been in Game 1. 2 Cloud Drakes, an Earth Drake, and Baron coming up again. The third Baron, if they can take this one away in 36 minutes. It has been a snowballing game on that eSuba have been comfortable to play.
But Team XD, they do have the control ward down. So for all intents and purposes, Team XD have control.
We have to get back to base. That's going to be Odstranovic, who heads back first.
Does have TP.
But remember, with going back this early, eSuba, they're going to go straight to Baron.
Or they could bait this and then potentially team fight afterwards. Now, the teleport takes a long while to channel, so they could, but...
Wow, Baron went down so quick, the camera couldn't even catch it.
Holy.
They head for top lane, and they are not stopping.
Yeah, I just thought that it was going to be
a drop.
Yeah, everybody needs a good frog back. But anyway, I thought that they were going to use that Baron as a bait in order to bring in 4 members of Team XD to challenge it and then subsequently win the fight after that. But they just go for the Baron outright and there was no contest. So now Team XD, they need to defend against not only a taken down inhib in the bottom lane, but also Baron wave in the top lane.
13,000 gold ahead. They're feeling confident. eSuba walking in, the cannon barrage, the zone away, the engage is there. The wombo combo, that's what we're looking for, but rooted down. Vincent has gone down. That is the main source for Team XD. The unleashed power almost destroys Azir, and Neon is somewhere where he shouldn't be. He'll find the stun, but will he die first? The Azir with the DPS in the backside. Finally, Neon gets the kill, but eSuba, they're already past that, folks. They want Shekalol. They want Neon. They'll walk past the turret. They'll take it with them. And eSuba win yet another one. This could be it.
They just don't care. They're taking down every single structure possible, and now this could be their winning push. It's all formalities. They're going for 100% completionist mode. You love to see it. And now it's finally the Nexus turret.
All inhibitors down. The fail-safe is there. They'll go for bottom lane inhibitor and Preacher. It doesn't look like they're keen on ending the game unless they find the pick here. Neon gets knocked up with the Glacial Fissure. Humanoid survives on the backside, and an Azir that's too far out is not an Azir at all.
You better bet that they're keen for it, Hysterics. 3 inhibitors down. They don't even need to finish a game right now. They can start playing with their food, go back to base with all of their Baron buffs, 4 seconds instead of 8, and then recuperate and put the final nails into the coffin.
Well, Now it's going to be a big one because in minute 15, another dragon spawns, and I believe that is the Elder Dragon at this point in the game.
No, it doesn't even matter at this point, really. If you want to take it, if you want to take it, you can.
Just for a convincing win.
If you don't want to take it, who cares? Just roll into the base, and realistically, with all of these minions behind you, you always got to consider that these super minions do more damage than you imagine, and with a lot of them barreling down on especially the backline of Team XT, it looks very difficult for them to fight.
And I love how Jetski goes back and he just buys a Banner of Command outright.
Yeah, why not?
So, well, with the Baron buff, that's exactly what you're going to do. And we're going to have a look at this one again because Team XT, they fell short.
Yeah, it was nice, but it was also sloppy at the same time. They take down the Rakant, so there's no engage or disengage potential from Team XT. And now it just looks like Zach is way too far forward. Nobody can stop them because all of the CC has now been systematically removed from Team XT. And this is just eSuba having a little fun with this entire tournament. I mean, the gameplay goes too aggressive, doesn't even matter.
And now they're looking to end the game. Team XT back on the defensive, and decision-making for Team XT will have to be evaluated. That misses a Glacial Prison, and walking on still eSuba confident. The Chains of Corruption lands onto the Xayah. Will have to use the ultimate, but the quickness only hits one. Everyone will jump into it, and Humanoid's cleaning up. He survives. No one's going near him whatsoever. 3 damage sources from eSuba, and all 3 survive. eSuba, game 1 of the V4 Future Sports Festival in Hungary. They'll take the semi-final. They'll take game 1, and they'll